How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. Consider giving this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, hit the bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on the channel. With that, of course, we're going to be continuing reading through my book series. This is the Chronicles of Unit 4, The Core Arises. If you guys want a copy of this book, please let me know in the comment section. You'll have to give me your email address. I'll send you a copy of a Microsoft Word document, and I will send it to you guys that way so you guys can read along with me. I am planning on dividing this book up into 4 parts. This is the longest Chronicles of Unit 4 book out of the first 4. And this one really holds a special place in my heart because I never had the intention to end up writing this book. I had plans, of course, with writing 1, 2, and 3. The first one was a couple books, and then I put them all together to make the Chronicles Unit 4 1. Then the Galaxy War, several books, I put that into one. Universal War was actually 5 books that were like really short, and I put those all into one. And then I kind of stopped, and everyone's like, no, we want more adventures, which led me to write 4, 5, and 6, and 7. And then, of course, everyone's like, didn't like the ending of 7, and so I ended up doing 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So, as always, we're going to read the intro, and then we'll jump in. In this part, my goal is to read chapter 1 and 2. So I hope you guys all enjoy. Introduction. 10 years have passed since the Universal War, in which only Paul Woodson and I survived. Although peace has been restored to the universe for a period of time, evil still lurks for a chance of revenge, and finds it. I form another team consisting of Paul Woodson, Christy Woodson, Devin Armstrong, and myself. Unit 4 travels to Hamster Harbor to learn of evil's new leader, Dr. Rice. The only problem is that it seems that the Doctor has no weakness. From battling on Yon 4 for the Book of Power, to meeting friendly trees on FE-74, and eventually the annihilation of Dr. Rice and his Iceman army on Earth 3, this 4th part of the story will keep you wanting to read until the end. What is the core that has arisen? Find out. Chapter 1. Operation New Team. It has been 10 years since the devastating war that took place both on the planet Earth 2 and in outer space. General Kripke left the Noble office and died 1 year ago. The current president is President Alexander, with a great military background, a wife, and all the wonders of life at his control. Paul Woodson is still married to his blonde-haired wife Christy and planned to meet the president to discuss a major problem that could destroy the planet. Douglas still owned Walt Disney World in Florida and received a call from his younger brother, Devin, that the president requested to speak with them. Douglas decided to pick up Devin and drive them in his green car to the White House from Roseville, Michigan. Douglas, after purchasing Walt Disney World, bought the house that his parents lived in and where the 53N OT4 base remained. Douglas had lost memory of the base due to the fact that he needed to focus more on life rather than saving the universe. Douglas never knew that he had a brother until he found Devin at Grandma Jean's apartment one day. Sadly, Grandma Jean was killed in a car crash while exploring the countries of France and Spain. Douglas, Devin, Christy, and Paul arrived at the White House at nearly the exact same time, with only 5-minute difference. Location: the Noble office. "Welcome, my friends and future workers," said President Alexander. "I'm sorry, sir, but why are the 4 of us here, especially Paul and I?" asked Douglas. "The reason is because I know that the both of you were part of what is being taught in schools as the Universal War, and we have a job offer for all of you," said the president. "We?" asked Devin. "Yes. The planet is requesting you to help," said the president. "Listen, and listen carefully and closely," said the president. "Our space spy ships, or 2 SRs, have learned that a man named Dr. Rice has decided to gather an army and will attempt to take control of the universe," said the president. "This planet wants a team of experienced people to locate Dr. Rice and kill him before he plans to strike," said the president. "You want to form another team, another Unit 4, and leave our current lives?" asked Douglas. "Yes. I mean, you can't be mad at this planet. Paul, I know that you have nightmares about the men you lost during the previous war and probably want revenge. Christy, you could use your advising skills to help the team leader. Devin, I know you would enjoy having an adventure with your older brother. And Douglas, I know that you have a container of hate of Tilk and Phil's deaths, your dad killing your mom, and him leading the Colton army to destroy us, said the president. Everybody looked at Douglas as he was frustrated from what the president spoke. I will lead my team into this search, but you must promise me that once we need help, that you will transfer power of this planet's army of ships and troops to my command, said Douglas. You have my word, and this planet's word, said the president. The new team laid out their hands on a table and declared themselves Unit 4. Location: Douglas's house in Roseville. Unit 4 wondered why Douglas had brought them to his house and not prepare for the first assignment. Paul, do you remember that we had built a secret base of operations for the last team, and Phil called it the 53N OT4 base? Asked Douglas. Well, my friends, this is the entrance to it, said Douglas, showing them his closet and the button painted into the wall that activated the elevator up and down. Unit 4 piled into the elevator, and Douglas pressed the button, activating the lift for the elevator to move. How long has it been exactly since the two of you have been down here? Asked Christy to her husband and Douglas. About 10 years, but why do you ask? Replied Douglas. I just think that this elevator should have stopped by now, said Christy. It's a long way down, and it was built that way for security reasons, said Douglas. The elevator stopped shortly after the conversation, and Unit 4 looked around to see a long hallway that led to a strange object. Do you remember this place? Asked Douglas to Paul. Are you joking? I remember this place so well that I think I know the combination to that door, said Paul. Paul walked towards the door that led to a room with a label reading Danger Room and entered in the 7-digit combination lock. Zoom! The door opened to see containers of blaster rifles, Zonta guns that Douglas kept from the Universal War, mountains of ammunition, and another room guarded by more security devices. What is inside of this room? Asked Devon. I don't remember what is behind this wall, said Paul. I do, because I placed this here to protect things of extreme value, said Douglas. Douglas entered in the 7-digit combination, lowering an electronical perimeter, completed the eye and finger test, and pressed the middle green button on the metal door. The door began to open, revealing something no man on Earth 2 or in the universe could have dreamed about. Unit 4 entered the room and froze, for at last the new team could now see the radar room, the shooting range, the table that Paul and Douglas played chess on, the hangar bay with a surprise, and hanging on the wall near the entrance to the door hung Douglas's green lightsaber, but the purple double-sided lightsaber that belonged to Phil was no longer there. I forgot to grab Phil's lightsaber before I left the leader's SMV-89, said Douglas. I still think it is proper for the leader to have the weapon, said Paul. Look at this, said Devon, walking into the hangar bay. Everyone dashed into the hangar bay and stopped to see a ship, not as large as the MT-6 D-81, but still had numerous cannons, missiles, green stripes on the side, and a protected glass window to see out of, where it appeared that the command room was located. Perfect! I had completely forgotten about my latest invention before leaving this place, said Douglas. You built this ship? Asked Devon. Yes. Say hello to the V-87, or Vengeance with 87 missile tubes, said Douglas. Suddenly, the phone inside of the base began to ring. Hello, this is Douglas Armstrong, leader of Unit 4. How may I help you? Asked Douglas, answering the call. Thank you, Douglas, for answering me. My name is Billy, and I need your team to help with the spread of a deadly disease in my hometown, said the voice on the other line. Send me the coordinates, and my team will arrive shortly, said Douglas. Chapter 2. The First Blizzard. 3 hours later. Unit 4 had arrived at the coordinates and realized that they were heading for a place called Hamster Harbor. Here, on Earth 2, lived a town of hamsters that could talk numerous languages, walk on 2 legs like humans, farm large areas, and many other things that humans could do. Unit 4 landed the V-87 and placed gas masks on their faces to not breathe in the deadly disease that Billy, a hamster that appeared to be the leader, talked about. What is this disease that you have spoke of? Asked Douglas. That's the problem, Douglas. We don't know what this disease is called, replied Billy. Devon and Christy, I want you to take samples and test them for all diseases while Paul and I have a look around, said Douglas. 1 hour later. Devin and Christie learned that the same type of poison that spread into the space station was in the air of this harbor. "What can we do?" asked Billy. "We can spread K-67 to kill this poison, and maybe it will solve this problem," said Devin. Unifor, Billy, and the other hamsters grabbed large containers of K-67 and began to spread it as quickly as possible. Soon after, other hamsters, such as black bear and dwarf hamsters from other parts of the harbor, which Christie thought looked cuter than her husband, began to help. The task was hard work, yet after 3 hours the deadly poison was killed, and the affected hamsters were cured instantly. "Thank you," said Billy. "You're welcome, Billy," said Douglas. "You'll pay for stopping my plan," said a man covered in ice. "Who are you, sir?" asked Douglas. "I, Dr. Ice, was in the middle of a mutation process with these life forms, and you had to come along and mess everything up," said the man. "You're the new team, the new Unit 4, said Dr. Ice. "Yes, and we've been given the task to hunt you down to end your power struggle of attempting to take over the universe," said Douglas. "Fool, only one thing can stop me, and you'll never find the book," said Dr. Ice. Unifor drew their blaster rifles and began shooting at the doctor, yet the doctor wasn't any ordinary man. Dr. Ice pointed his hands at the incoming bullets, fired what appeared to be freeze rays, and watched as the bullets froze in the air. "You'll never capture me or kill me, Unifor," said Dr. Ice. Douglas drew his lightsaber and charged at the doctor. Ice fired a freeze ray from his hands, formed an ice-like lightsaber, and prepared for the duel. "Clang, clang, clang!" is what the sound of the lightsabers made when clashing together. "You should just surrender and allow me to kill you, your friends, and all these hamsters," said Dr. Ice. "I think that I will kill you even if it takes time," said Douglas. "Time, my friend, is something that turns out to be your enemy, and is what will kill you because you're too weak, and are becoming part of this core that is arising to challenge me," said Ice. "Soon, just like the others, you'll fall, Ice," said Douglas. "I'm not like the others. You have battled, and that is my strength and your weakness," said Dr. Ice. "Enough talking," said Douglas. Douglas flipped into the air, and just when he thought he had his lightsaber in range of Ice's head, Ice swung his lightsaber and took off Douglas's right hand. Douglas fell to the ground with his arm bleeding continuously. "I hope this will teach you all not to mess with my plans, for this will be the result if you do," said Dr. Ice. Dr. Ice left Douglas on the ground to bleed and disappeared to his armed fighter, heading for the planets So-So and Camdan. Hours later, Douglas awoke to be greeted by his friends, Billy, and a dwarf hamster harbor doctor. "What is the news in the universe, and what has happened with me?" asked Douglas. "Well, all the planets are still in their orbits. There's no war yet. Dr. Ice has been spotted around the planets Kissan and Pluto, and this doctor saved your life by attaching a robot, regular-looking hand to you to stop the bleeding," said Devin. "Thank you, Doctor. Christie and Devin, would you be so kind to give these hamsters bottles of my rare 1890 wine?" said Douglas. "Sir, that is your favorite wine. Plus it isn't made any more," said Christie. "I know that, Christie, but they are my favorite pets," replied Douglas. The next day, Unifor had given away at least 300 bottles of wine to the hamsters before leaving in the V-87 to head toward the last sighting of Dr. Ice near Pluto. Douglas was able to finally move his right hand and planned to make sure Ice was dead permanently. Hours later, Unifor had just passed between the planets Matkong and Kun and was only a few minutes away from arriving at the planet Pluto. Pluto was a planet our team read about in the scrolls that were currently located in the 53N OT4 base, giving our team insight of what to prepare for. The team had arrived and put on special suits to withstand the freezing temperature, but no oxygen masks and tanks for breathing, since Pluto had the right amount of gases to sustain human life only. "Land the V-87, said Douglas to Paul, the spaceship's driver. Minutes later, the team left the V-87 and was still searching for Dr. Ice and anything that appeared arm-like. "Could you inform me of what the arm is again, Douglas?" asked Devin. Devon, the arm is what I and the President have decided to call any opposition to the peacefulness of the universe and the future armies, plus their leaders of evil, including the past, present, and future ones, said Douglas. I also have this strange feeling in my body that Satan may arise, like told in the scrolls, and lead his army of demons into battle, said Douglas. Thank you, bro, said Devon. Douglas and Devon, come quick. We found something, said Paul. Within seconds, all of Unit 4 could see a large city with many skyscrapers and men that appeared like regular humans, mutated to be covered in ice. Well, I would have to say this is Dr. Ice's main base of operations, yet there isn't enough security patrolling the perimeter to capture people like us, said Douglas. Look at that, said Paul, using his binoculars. Douglas used his own pair of binoculars and zoomed in to see Dr. Ice having a conversation with a group of 30 Icemen. Christy, bring out the zoomer so we can hear the conversation, said Douglas. Christy pulled out of one of her pants pockets a strange-looking box with multiple antennas. Christy pointed all the antennas at Dr. Ice, and the team listened to the conversation. You are to take an armed spaceship to the planet Yon 4, retrieve the Book of Power, and return the book to me, said Dr. Ice. What is so important about a book, my lord? Asked the Ice Captain. This book has the power to destroy anything, ranging from one person to an army of soldiers and spaceships, to a planet, to the whole universe. Minus the planet we would be on, said Dr. Ice. We have to travel to Yon 4 this minute, because if Ice means what he says, it could be the end of the universe as we know it, said Douglas. Unit 4 packed their gear and returned to the V-87, unaware that Dr. Ice and the 30 Icemen had seen Unit 4 leaving. Alright, that's going to do it for me, guys. Look forward to part 2 coming up very soon. We will be continuing on with Chapter 3, the Book of Power. You guys all have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.